Right, so welcome to Rick and to Wade. Guys, as I've said already, it's a privilege to be connecting with you. Both of you sitting in Bali while I'm out here in Cape Town, South Africa. Wade, how are things in Bali at the moment?
Doesn't get much better, mate. Let's be honest. It's hard to complain about life in Bali. And I guess you can see all the green in my video and the green in Rick's video. That's, we're here in nature.
Sure.
This is
Rick, you really do look like you're in nature. There's a lot of green there. Whereabout are you in Bali?
Well, we're in the mountains here, Ryan, but if you were to look, I can't change my camera angle at the moment, but right in front of me is pristine jungle,
Wow.
A river ravine, and then 5 mountains beyond that. So you are invited to come to Bali as soon as the gates open and the opportunity comes. Come and visit us here. We'll make you welcome.
I'm packing my bags after this. I'm on my way.
I'm actually going up to Rick's house this weekend. I'm going to go spend a weekend there. We're going to do some brainstorming. We're going to do some workshops with Rick, and his house is probably one of the most beautiful. It just feels, like you can feel relaxed when you're there. It's insane. It's something you have to experience.
Rick, thank you for the invite. I believe it will happen. Wade, let's start with you.
Good.
A longtime friend from where we started our journey to where you are now. It's been a transformation, as it always will be, and I'm extremely proud of you. But your journey was about finding healing. We shared a lot of that together. Tell us a little about your life prior to Bali, where you were, what you were wrestling and struggling with, and then perhaps we can go into the transformation and the results you've started to see.
Thanks, Ryan. Thank you. I think when you say long-time friend, I don't think people quite realize that we were friends when we were like 11 years old. And many years go past where we don't see each other, don't speak to each other, and then very recently bump into each other again and become such a massive part of each other's lives, and more to come, of course. So my journey of finding healing, obviously it's a journey, it's a long one, but the most recent and the most relevant is the journey from Dubai. When I was living in Dubai, I was not in line with my purpose, to just put it as simply as that. But how does a person know that they're not in line with their purpose? And I didn't know that. In all honesty, I had no idea. I, in fact, thought I was doing really well at life because I had all those things that people score you on. I had a nice car, I had a comfortable place where I was living, I had a very nice girlfriend, I had all the things, man. I had money, but I was unfulfilled. There was something within me which was, the itch was not scratched. And to be very honest with you, it was my partner, Monya, who kind of pushed me out of my comfort zone and engaged in the idea of us leaving Dubai to kind of figure out what the hell we're going to do and to just set up our own existence. And that's what led us to you, Ryan. That's when we, on this journey of leaving, and we went to South America and we underwent a fair few plant medicine ceremonies, and we bumped into so many different people who are within the space, all different types of healers that you couldn't even name them. There's too many. So it was a journey of healing, but it wasn't purposeful. It wasn't like, I'm going to look for healing. It was more just, I'm on a journey, and all of these things found me. And one thing led to another, and this journey of finding healing has now become my purpose, because I was so overwhelmed with the amount of benefit that I got from just my coaching sessions with you and the other healing modalities that I underwent, and how much they helped shift my perspective, and how much they helped shape the way that I viewed the world and the way that I viewed success, that I literally said to Monya at the time, I said, these people need to be easier to be found. Why is it so difficult to find these awarenesses? Why is it so difficult to tap into this world? Right? For us sitting on this call, and maybe for some people who are listening, it's easy to find different types of practices, which you can go and do yoga or breath work or meditation or consciousness coaching or sound healing, or the list goes on. But in actual fact, if you don't know where to look, if you don't know where to start, where do you start? There's not one place to find it all. And that is quite literally why I came up with the idea of finding healers, because there needs to be one place to find it all. And not just all, there needs to be one place to find all of the most trusted, all of the worthy coaches, because that is one of the big problems I saw, is that a great healer without the ability to understand digital marketing would not impact anyone's lives. But then a great marketer with very shallow healing ability, or maybe intentions, would impact more people's lives. And that's just because when you go on the internet and you type in how to deal with a breakup, how to deal with a divorce, why am I sad, how to deal with depression, what are you going to get? You're going to get the articles and you're going to get the information which is better marketed, not the information which is more truthful or more value. And so that was the main problem at the center of this idea, was how do I make these great healers who don't necessarily know how to make a website, who don't necessarily know how to run an ad campaign, how do I make them found? And I guess the name Finding Healers that's literally all I was trying to do.
I love that you've created this safe space, right? It's almost like it's a doorway or a portal for people to find healing. You're not saying that this is what healing is. You're saying here is a vast, diverse amount of different healers, and you still need to come in and feel what resonates with you, right? You're just giving people more streamlined access to healing for themselves in whatever modality that may look like, that serves them best for where they currently are on their path. But something that you've touched on is the digital marketing aspect.
Exactly.
And now I'm like, small explosions are going off here, because I'm like, you are so right. I think we go and we qualify as a coach and we have certain experience, but that's just one arm of this beast, right? It's like, sometimes I'm a coach. More often than that time, I'm actually a content creator. When I'm not doing that, I'm actually an entrepreneur or a business manager. So there's so many aspects to what is required to run a successful, if you want to call it, business. It's so much more than that when you look at the essence of what it is. But to run a successful business, to create a living and a lifestyle for yourself where you are somebody who is of service to others. So through Finding Healers, maybe tell us a bit more about the platform and what that is now going to be. And just tap into how you plan on extracting that skill set of marketing and providing that value to healers like myself or anyone else.
Sure. So the entire ethos behind the platform is, well, the mission, right? Our mission is to make healing more accessible, right? So if I offered you the best tool that would unlock anything in your life, there's no guarantee you would take it without the education. Somebody would need to explain to you how to use that tool. Somebody would need to explain to you, that it's a tool, perhaps. And so already we can go on Instagram and we can go on Pinterest and we can read these quotes. And I mean, look, if you have an issue in your life, what do people do these days? They go and read that book, The Art of Not Giving a Fuck, or something, or they go and they read any book about, atomic habits, and all these different self-help books which exist to try and put the power back into the individual, which is great for those who it works for. But in some instances, people have deeper underlying issues. Some people really need the coach. Some people really need the guidance just for a short while. And Ryan, you and I have spoken about that before. Rick, I'd be interested to get your opinion in a little bit. But we've spoken about how healers and coaches, they make the individual their own healer. They do not prescribe, well, good healers and good coaches do not prescribe an answer. And they do not give you just a little bit so that you can keep coming back. They want you to go on. They want to set you free. It's not one of these entrapments where you have to keep going through the cycle, and then as soon as you get to the last session, it's like, oh, upgrade for just 10 more sessions. It's more of a putting the power back into the person. And so this platform that we're creating is to not only provide the services. For example, if I put a profile up of both of you on the platform today, that doesn't really help somebody, right? Because they're going to go and they're going to read your bio and they're going to look at your profile photo and they're going to say, okay, great. Consciousness coaching, what the hell is consciousness coaching, right? And they might say, what is consciousness, right? So we've taken it upon ourselves to increase awareness, not only of these modalities and the coaches who can actually perform the sessions with you to give you the tools, but also the awareness of the entire industry itself. Educate people about these different modalities and how they can really affect all of our lives for the better. And so education and implementation are two elements that we're really trying to focus on. And so with the platform, initially when we launch, it's going to be a super basic version because we need to build the base of the coding, right? And the base is going to be just the list of different healers with their profiles that people can come and find, quite literally find. And then we have a Discord server where a lot of our healers are in the Discord server. So if somebody wants to talk directly to a healer, they have an option. They can email directly, they can WhatsApp to get a more instant connection, or they can come directly to the Discord server where they have multiple different healers. And in this Discord server, we've already started collecting information from different healers who share different information about different modalities, whether it be sound healing, Reiki, mediums, whichever it might be. There's all different rooms with this information in there to help people find knowledge about what can help them. Because at the end of the day, I remember when I was on my journey, I didn't know what was wrong with me. You know, that's why you go to the doctor. He's got to tell you what's wrong with you, you know? And so you don't know what to search. You don't know what is actually wrong with you. All that we can do with Finding Healers is provide more access. And so what we hope to do with this platform in the first it's not going to be there. First, it's going to be just a list of healers, make the healers more accessible, add information, add education. And then we're going to create, the platform will become a space where healers will upload free content. And this will be a space where anyone can come and can consume free content. That will allow them to learn more about breath work, learn more about consciousness coaching, learn more about trauma. A lot of people suffer trauma. They don't even know what trauma is, right? They think, no, but I can't remember anything. I wasn't traumatized. And we all know that trauma hides way beyond what we can remember or what we even know. And so this is what we want to do. We want to create a space where our healers provide free content for people to consume. And if they then would like to go on to either book one-on-one sessions with healers, maybe they want to sign up to a video program which a healer has pre-recorded. Maybe they want to buy a book like your book, Ryan. This is a place where they can have access to all of this in one space, one place to find it all. Not 10,000 blogs who were written by great marketers and not great healers. One space with verified healers.
And
That's
so
what
it
we're going
is.
for.
I believe you're creating something very, very powerful. So we're all behind you. And somebody watching this probably looks at Wade and is like, okay, hold on. Like this good-looking guy living in Bali, now he's creating a success for himself, right? Go look at his social media and you're only touching the tip of the iceberg right now, like this nomadic lifestyle. But wait, I'm going to ask you to like tap in for a moment. You know, prior to this discovery, it wasn't like
Sure.
this. So for somebody who is looking in from the outside, like,
No.
how would you describe some of the low points? You know, we wrestled with that. We had to walk into that unknown together, but it wasn't always like this. And then I'm going to go to Rick and around his story of metamorphosis, right? Because you're probably still going through your metamorphosis, as we all are in our own ways. But what was it like when it really actually sucked for you? And that wasn't so long ago. For you.
Me, yes. Okay. That wasn't very long ago. In fact, that was actually only a few months ago, Ryan, that we were working together. The feeling of just absolute lost, just completely lost, fully aware of the potential, fully aware of my journey and the capabilities I have. But my capabilities that I scored as capabilities were capabilities in being able to survive, right? Get a job, build a relationship, build a reputation. These are things which in the real world matter, but inside don't matter. And so although it may look successful on the outside, or it may look dandy on the outside, there was a lot of uncertainty within me, a lot of self-doubt, I would say that was probably my biggest flaw, or my biggest hurdle to overcome, was the self-doubt. Because again, I was fighting the metrics that I was given as measurements of success in the world. And so if I didn't have X, Y, and Z, I clearly wasn't making it. But then when I had X, Y, and Z, I still didn't feel fulfilled. And the journey of coaching that I went on with you, I was in this absolute hamster wheel, just rushing nonstop, 24/7, 200% effort every single day, just absolutely smashing my head against the wall, trying to find success. And Ryan, the funny thing is, where I sit right now, I'm no more successful than I was when we were doing our sessions. But I'm just at such a peace right now. I'm just at peace with where I'm at, because I know that what I am doing is coming from pure intention. I know that what I'm doing has absolute value for the world, and it feels right for me. And where I failed previously was that I wasn't listening to me. I wasn't feeling. I wasn't acknowledging the feeling. I was suppressing the feeling to try and look for things outside to make me feel better, right? Whether that be clothes shopping, or a new camera, or fancy drone, or whatever it was, to make me feel good in the moment, because there was something fundamentally not fulfilled within me. And that's where I was, even though it looked on the outside like I was living this amazing life, because it was an amazing life. But I wish I could live that life again now, with this mindset, with these eyes, because this is a new being. And it wasn't some kind of massive transformation either. It was really just, like you said, be and stop doing. And I love that. That was the most valuable thing I took from our coaching sessions, was to stop doing things and just be the person that Wade wants to be. And now I'm on that journey. I wouldn't say I've arrived. When Finding Healers has changed the world and we have millions of subscribers, then I think I've arrived. But internally, I'm happy. Internally, I'm super happy. And I feel aligned. That's the gift. That's the gift here, is that I feel aligned. And I was not. I thought I was just trying to do everything. I was grabbing at straws, trying to figure out what it was that I needed to do, as if the thing that I needed to do was out there. And the answer to that was out there, that I was going to, I always thought I was going to see something and then be able to solve it, right? And the moment I stopped for a second, and it was our journey together, because you remember we started the Telegram group where we would do Zoom calls once a week with all of our audience to help them with what they were dealing with in their lives and help them to reach whatever they wanted to reach, or just talk about problems that they had in their lives. And that's where I was like, why isn't there something like this? Why is it so difficult for people to find Ryan? Why? And it's the most cliche thing, but my journey became my purpose.
You call it cliche, but I would go out today and actually say that is it. You can only give what you've got, right? Rick gives from what he's got, and we're going to go into that now. But if you're trying to be who you are not, this is where the contrast has to intensify more and more and more for us to come back to who we really are. And I remember your mindset of like doing, and it was always like harder, faster, longer, like the more Wade, because Wade has a brilliant mind on him. And I'm always learning from you through your perspective, the freshness that you offer. And I just see now that you're tapping more into that, hence finding healers, hence your journey with Rick. And there's a lightness and a power that now is Wade in his being, rather than that place of, like force and wanting to find the answers for himself. So I don't believe there's a finish line. We're here until we're not anymore, and we are constantly expanding and discovering, deeper parts of who we are. So thank you, brother. I love you immensely, and let this journey be one that's massively rewarding for you and everyone who you come in contact with. My pleasure.
Thank you so much, Ryan. Before we get on to Rick, and I'm really excited to listen to Rick's story about being in Vietnam and how that must have been. I'm really excited to listen to that. But I just want to say one thing to just zip off my little 2 cents. And that was that along this journey, working with you, before working with you, after working with you, the one thing which was so drilled into me was that if you don't work, nothing will happen. Do. You got to go get that thing. You got to go get that job. You got to go get that. You have to force that. And I used to work in sales. If you don't phone that guy, he's not going to buy. If you do, chase, do. And the moment I just stopped doing and chasing, suddenly doors opened for me. I didn't have to bash them down. And I just think it's a beautiful perspective for people to consider. I'm not saying that they need to change the way they live, but just a perspective to consider that maybe there is another way for you to tackle a certain problem or a certain circumstance in your life. And maybe it's through less control. And maybe that lack of control is the very thing that will lead you to the opening. And that's my 2 cents. That's what was really profound for me.
So, Rick,
Ryan, can I jump in there and just say something on Wade's behalf?
Please do.
What an extraordinary journey you've had, Wade. When I was 26, I learned something very profound. It was the definition of success. What is the measure of success? And of course, when we're in a materialistic consumer society, it's have you got a Mercedes or BMW in the garage and how much money you've got and fame and fortune. But very, very, very humble man told me his definition, and I've had that since I was 26, and that success is measured by the warmth of a person's heart. As simple as that. So when you sent me an email, I'm an intuitive and an empath, and I felt the warmth through the words of your email and the connection, although we hadn't never met. And what clearly had happened to you was an alignment with the head and the heart coming into alignment. Instead of the heart, or the head, I should say, taking over, the mind taking over and mastering everything, You swapped that, volt vis, and allowed the heart to become the master and the mind to be the servant. And that's what came through, and that's why there was an instantaneous recognition and a love flowing between us, like we had been long lost twins separated at birth, except I got out a long time before you did.
Incredible. Like when I think of where like when you were leaving Dubai and then approaching this nomadic life in Bali, and to think that now you've crossed paths with Rick, the blessings are there for us, right?
I know,
when we're aligned,
right?
and when we're taking that aligned action, they present themselves. And I get goosebumps when I think of it, because I could talk about this stuff all day. And I just wish that others would get that experience and knowing for themselves. And Rick, that brings me then into your journey. It's clear you're doing amazing work. What I love about your mission is that it's so heart-led, in your words. But it wasn't always this way, right? Like, I couldn't believe my eyes when I saw a man who was in the Vietnam War and perhaps many other things I still don't even know. Tell us about your journey and what transformation has looked like for Rick.
Well, a long time ago, when I was in my 20s, I was coerced into the Australian Army because the Vietnam War was going on. And I was given a choice when I made the profound statement to the registering officer. I said, look, you need to know I'm a pacifist. I've been brought up by two pacifist, loving, compassionate parents. I don't believe in war and I don't believe in violence. And this was I hope to be my ticket out of there. And he looked me straight in the eye and said, son, not a problem. You'll just go to jail for 2 years as a conscientious objector. My whole life flashed in front of me. I developed a couple of Mini Coopers. I was in Australia now, not in England, drinking beer, barbecues, chasing girls, swimming, sleeping on the beach. And all of a sudden, I'm faced with this choice with about 30 seconds to make it, whether you go into the Vietnam War or you go to jail for 2 years. And I chose the Vietnam War. Today, I would go to jail in a heartbeat. But then it was a very different choice. And I went in there and I realized 6 weeks into my tour of duty that we'd been hoodwinked. Nobody wanted to be there. The reason for being there was phony, complete lie. And I managed to work my way up the ranks into a section commander. 9 months into my tour of duty, in what could only be described as terror for every day, not knowing whether you're going to live or die the next day. After 9 months of my tour of duty, I'd married my sweetheart. We'd had 5 weeks together before I went to Vietnam. And she wrote me a letter saying she's left me here. And to this day, I never saw her again. So that night I took my rifle out, put a bullet up the spout, the butt of the rifle in the ground, the barrel against my head, and I pressed the first pressure on the trigger. I could not see a way out of the misery, the pain, the inhumanity and insanity that I was contributing to. Right? I could not see a feasible way out. And so this was my solution, and not a very healthy one at that. As it was, that didn't happen. There is no hole in my head. At least I don't think so if I look closely. And the next 3 days was an inner journey of contemplating what I was contemplating. And I was 20. What does a 20-year-old kid know about life? Nothing. So I made a conscious decision I would find out about life. And then if I didn't like it, I would do something about it. But now I need to find out. And that was the universe giving me a whack around the head with the baseball bat saying, wake up. This is your wake-up call. And as it transpired, it was an incredible wake-up call. It was a catharsis, a catalyst that completely transformed my life. And that sent me on the journey. So by the time I got out of the army and 2 years of traveling around Europe healing, I came back at 26, dedicated to learning to be a coach. And I've been coaching for almost 50 years now, coaching Vietnam vets, been back to Vietnam 5 times, walked into an ex-Viet Cong village, met my enemy,
Wow.
only to embrace them as brothers and sisters. So it was a very painful but a beautiful experience. And really, it's been pretty good ever since then. Yes, there's some, the roller coaster, but the roller coasting trend is going upwards and not downwards. I've never been to those depths before, right? And a few millimeters would have changed that. So what I prescribe to is, how do I find a way out of this misery, out of this insanity, out of this pain, out of this trauma? And that led me down many paths. I studied with an extraordinary human being one-on-one in India, met some beautiful teachers, did a lot of inner work, breath work, all sorts of modalities that I would find of awakening this being. And of course, this being is awake. We just need to become aware of our own awareness, how to become more conscious of our consciousness. And that's been my journey. And now I live in heaven in Bali. And I don't believe in us ascending. I believe we are descending the beauty of all of life into these physical these bodies, into this physical world, and embodying all of those beautiful values, all of those elements that are the goodness that lies within us all, and living those on a daily basis, practicing them. So there's beingness and doingness, because our behaviors are a reflection of what we're being. So the first step is to be something, and then our actions will reflect in that. So I don't altogether subscribe, Wade, to letting go of all those beings. And I know you're not, the doingness is because I know you're not doing that, because I know you're still busy. Right? But what is the central core? What is the foundation? Is what are we being? And for my life, it's, what would love do now? That's the question I ask. What would my heart tell me? What, if I want to be love, how would that reflect in my behaviors? Right? And I don't profess to be anywhere near perfect. And I fall on my face now and again. But that's where I want to come from a place of love, in alignment with my head, in alignment with my energy centers, in alignment with our beautiful Pachamama, in alignment with Source. Get everything in alignment. That's when the magic happens. So that's been my journey. And at 75, I feel like I'm halfway through my journey. I reckon I've got another 75 years ahead of me.
75 years young, Rick.
Wow.
It doesn't feel that. It feels like about 35.
I love what you mentioned there around, we hear so much about the ascension process, right? But descending, and I guess there is no ascension without descending. And it's such a brilliant way that you put that, right? It's more of an embodiment process, because we're here in this spectacular human form. And it's something that I'm always messaging and passionate about, is like, potential is human. Without this Rick that I see, and this Wade and this Ryan, like, we don't have the opportunity to express our essence and experience this reality. So like, this vessel needs to be honored. We need to integrate, we need to learn, and we need to just live with the right values. And as you're saying, aligned to that which is greater than just us.
Yes. Yeah. And the title of this podcast is Potential is Human. I couldn't agree more. We are living in a field of potential, right? But we're not only living in it, we are it. Nothing is separate. Everything is connected. So we are this field of potential, and this field of potential is inviting us, dip in and manifest this, just as Wade is doing and you're doing there, Ryan, and I'm doing. We're dipping into this field of potential and bringing it into being, so we may be of service to others, so there may be a benefit to society. And it's not something separate from us. We are that field. So it's embedded in us. All we need to do is uncover any debris that covers it up, reconnect with that. And I thoroughly believe that the heart is the portal to this field, is the portal to everything, to the infinite. Right? And this field is potential only. So this is the paradox. It's everything and nothing simultaneously. And the nothingness can be co-created into this physical three-dimensional world and become something. Before it was no thing, just an idea, just a potential. And what our role is to dip in there and bring something in to birth the new earth, to birth the new humanity. We're pretty well done on the old one, except we need to filter through there and pick up some indigenous wisdom. Well, we don't want to throw that out, and some permaculture and gentle birthing and alternative education, Chinese, Indian medicine of 4,000 years. Bring those with us. But all the corrupted systems that no longer serve all of humanity, we need to discard those. And we are building this bridge to the new paradigm, the new earth for humanity. So what a journey. What a calling. What a
journey.
What an experience to be part of this. And this is, having been a hippie in the 60s, to see this emerging now with you young guys, it took me a long time to get where you guys are now, right? And these kids that are coming through, downloaded with so much imagination and fresh new ideas. This is an amazing time to be alive. And we're part of it.
Well, Rick, you touched on the younger generation and the younger kids coming through with so many downloads and so much awareness and so much knowledge, I guess, because they have all of it at their fingertips. But it's actually, this is one of the big reasons that we have embodied Discord as a part of our service within our platform, because Discord is generally a younger community. It's a community of people who have mostly in gaming. That's where it has begun. And what we want to do is to be able to reach the younger people, the new generations. Because, and this is a question for both of you actually, because we sit here now, and maybe the people who watch this are watching it because they also have an understanding of this world, of this potential, of the future that we envision together. But how do you change the mind of someone who doesn't? Firstly, do you need to change it? And I would be interested to hear that opinion. And secondly, to anybody who is corrupted by the old way of the world, they're gonna just look at us and say, "Oh, these are hippies, What are they bloody putting in their pipe and smoking?" And that's just the way to brush it off, right? That is what everybody always says. And it's those people who need the change the most. Whereas the youth who are coming through now, they are more aware. They are more open to the idea of this new future, this inner healing, this inner world, this remembering. And so that's the question I have is, do you waste your time trying to change people, or do you just hop on with those who are
Rick,
on the train?
I invite you to go first.
If I may, Ryan. Yeah, thank you. For a start, you can't change anybody. Right? You can provide an environment that is open to change, but you can't forcibly change. You can coerce people to doing things, right? But the moment you're not there to reinforce it, they'll just fall back on their own programs. Now, at the risk of sounding discompassionate, my byline is make the able more able. And I learned this in my early 20s, working for a drug rehabilitation program, which we had a lot of success. If we could take a heroin addict, girl or boy, and remove them from their peer group and put 6 to 8 months of good hard work into them, get them cleaned up, get their bodies cleaned up, they're in a mental state, you've got a normal functioning human being. Right? Then I realized it's going to take a long time to make any dent in the world's unconsciousness. So I suggested, let's get some kid that's just left university, fresh-faced, filled of energy, wants to make change, well-educated, looking after themselves. Let's put the same 6 to 8 months into them. And now you've got a game changer on your hands. Now you've got somebody who can make a difference. So I believe in those people that are at need of change, right? Come down the spiral, the dwindling spiral. They're at need of change. They are our target audience. If you're not at need of change, you'll continue dwindling down that spiral, be it alcohol, drugs, anything that is giving them a modicum of comfort and escapism. Somebody at need of change is there saying, enough, I can't do this anymore. Now they're ripe for change. Now they are receptive and ready to go. That should be our audience. Right? And that we'll make a bigger impact on our audience because they will go out and make a difference. And they will make a difference in those people. So eventually we'll all get caught up. It's like climbing up a ladder. As long as we keep moving, we will leave more steps for people to come up. If we're stuck, nobody can light up that ladder. So that's my philosophy. Don't try and force change on anybody, right? Because you and I, all of us here, would take umbrage if somebody stood in front of us and said, you need to do this, right? So that's my 2 penneth worth. Find the able, make them more able.
I like that word.
Ryan, your read on
enabling. This. That's fantastically said, Rick. From where I'm currently at, I 100% resonate with how you've languaged that and explained it. For me, Wade, it goes back to when the student is ready, the teacher will teach. Every one of us on this call and everyone watching, or for those still to come, will get to a point where they just can't take it anymore. And when you can open to that vulnerability and honesty within yourself and acknowledge that the change needs to happen, then the flowering and the unfolding begins to take place. But the need to rescue or change anyone, by rescuing you, I'm making you the victim, right? It's already the wrong foot to start on. But every person that I've come in contact with on my short journey, there's been a resonance. And I've been drawn to that individual and what they can offer from who they're being. So again, it's that heart-led openness. Can we live with an open heart and be who we really are? Because then people are drawn to that part of us. And when they then arrive, it's like, I'm sitting on this side of the bridge. I'm not going to walk over the bridge to pull you across and tell you what you must or must not do. But there's a bridge. And if you choose to walk over and come and experience the reality on this side of the bridge, I will give you with utmost compassion everything that I know. And then there are the likes of Rick and yourself who know other things. But you're going to have to walk across the bridge. I'm not coming to fetch you.
Beautiful.
I hope.
Beautiful. The other metaphor is the chicken egg. If you break a chicken egg, the content dies. Right? If you allow the breakage to happen from the inside, not the outside, from the inside, life is born.
That's a new one for me. Thank you. I like that.
Yeah. Isn't it great?
That's cool.
Rick, maybe as we start closing off, unless you guys have anything you may want to ask or share, but Rick, I just want to know for myself, what is life like in the average day in the jungle in Bali for you? Like, what does Rick do when the sun rises and when he goes to bed at night?
Most of the time, I'm in perhaps constantly in the flow. You know how athletes get into that flow. I find myself surrounded by Mother Nature, and I've created a lifestyle that is supporting and very conducive to allowing the flow to come through. And so I'm in that space most of the time, and it's very creative. So I'm writing, I'm creating content for an online course, and doing some little video introductions. And just happy being who I am, right? Just being, and totally aligned to my life purpose. Being of service is all that matters to me, right? I've had all the other trimmings, and couldn't come anywhere closer to the simplicity, paring away and coming back down to the basics and the basic simplicity. So that's my life.
Amazing. Thank you, Rick. It's a pleasure to learn from you. I look forward to learning more. As I said, I'm definitely visiting you one day. Thank you. It'll be amazing to see you in your space and experience Mother Nature with you in Bali. Wade, likewise. Continue doing what you're doing in Bali. It's inspiring for those watching, and we're all on the journey together. So from my side, just thank you. Thank you both so much, and stay strong. Keep living this dream.
Thank you. Thank you, Ryan.
Thank you, Ryan.
Thank you for this opportunity. Just beautiful.
Yeah, awesome opportunity. And I think we should do it more often. And we can keep getting new guests. We can do the same trio again. But I wanted to end off on one thing quickly. Both of you guys here have brought so much value to my life. And so you could say I am one of your students. And I want to ask you, from a point of finding healers, right, from a platform, is there a part within you which may have fear of your students, your clients, finding other coaches? Is there a part within you where finding healers may take away from you at all? Or do you think that because the values of a healer is for that of the person who is coming to you, is the whole purpose is for them to find what they're looking for? But I want to just ask you if there's an element in a coach's mind that considers, maybe if my clients finding healers, they might find another coach.
This is a whole discussion topic on its own, right? In terms of that's a lack consciousness and where we're looking from, and why are we doing what we do? Is it because me filling and taking in my bank account, or is it truthfully about the healing of the other and service to others? So, Wade, you know my answer. I think you are creating something that's only going to actually magnify and create more momentum for the healers on the platform, because the results are products of who we're being on the platform, and you giving access to us being seen, if we put it that way. There's nothing to take. Giving is receiving itself. There's a little Orion, not too many years ago, who would have wanted more clients, and it was about getting the client in the day, and that was what like a successful day looked like. But when you let that all go and it dissolves and falls away, you come closer to the essence of who you are, and you see that, like, we're going to sound really hippie to the others, but like there are no others in a sense, right? So it's service. I think you're doing a great thing. I don't think that anyone should have any fear around it being something that detracts or dilutes from what they're currently doing. Instead, look at it as an opportunity to show up and demonstrate what you're doing. And if what you're doing is flowing from that place, well, I reckon the flood is on its way.
Cool. I'm guessing you agree with that, Rick.
Wade, I do feel threatened. After all, there's only 7.8 billion people on this planet that us coaches have got access to. So, we need to spread it out a little bit, right? There's enough for everybody. And my philosophy, it's quality, not quantity. And I think that needs to be very high in our whole intention. is if we want to be a credible portal, a grand umbrella for planet Earth, under which coaches and those wishing to be coaches can be protected, then the quality of the people is the more important than the quantity. So there is a lot of people we're going through the most unprecedented human awakening like we've never experienced as a species before. There's a lot of work for all of us to do. So, yeah, we won't run out anytime soon.
Exactly, I agree. Yeah, good. Well, a final note, I know we've got like 5 minutes left of this recording. Just so that everybody who's watching this knows, and maybe you guys don't know, but you said, Rick, there's enough for us all. And Ryan, you touched on a very similar statement that, it's abundance. And the Finding Healers logo, the little circle with the line through it, in fact, is the Pleiadian light code for abundance. So just the logo of Finding Healers is abundance. And so if you resonate with this logo, if you come and join our community, our movement, we are all about abundance. We don't want to take at every corner. We don't want to wring the towel dry. We don't want to harvest and keep clients. Yeah. We are abundant, and we want people to come and flow out with that same abundance. Rick put it beautifully, that we are the antibodies of the world. Right? If the world is suffering from disease, the people like us, the people like Finding Healers, and every person who comes to go through a session on Finding Healers, and every healer who offers a session on Finding Healers is adding to that antibody, which will go out and fight the disease of the world. And that was a beautiful metaphor, Rick. I love that one. And so, yeah, just to touch on abundance, for those who didn't know, that is basically what Finding Healers is all about. The logo is abundance.
And let me just qualify what abundance means, because most people think it's an abundance of stuff. For me, abundance is based on love. How much compassion do we have? How much appreciation? How much forgiveness is in our heart? How much understanding of ourselves and others? How much humility? How much bravery and courage do we have? All of those are elements of love. If we have that as an abundance at our center and our core, we're unstoppable. Absolutely unstoppable.
I feel like that's a perfect place to
I love that.
To end this one today. Gentlemen, be the portal, and thank you so much for who you both